Live life in balance. Give yourself permission to dream. Silence the critical voice within. Appreciate all you have. You're a work in progress.
Yes. And what this reminds me of is this saying I heard a few years ago, and I carry it with me all the time, which is you can be both a work in progress and a masterpiece at the same time.
Absolutely.
You know?
You're right, because I think you're always a masterpiece. And all you're going to do is get better.
Yeah.
There's no such thing as getting there because you're already a masterpiece.
Yeah. It's just realizing it.
It's realizing it and not taking away from yourself, because we are it on this planet. We are. And they've taken it away from us, and they've hid it from us, and they've made us think that we're just these little peons. We're not. Mm-hmm. Because they are the peons. They don't have the power, and they don't have what they need. Like, that's why they want it from us, and that's why they have to take it from us, because they want us to have it.
Well, isn't it usually the most arrogant person in a group that's the loudest? Right?
Yeah, they do say that. They do say that. It is true.
Yeah.
So that's just ego.
Yeah.
So, yeah. So, okay, now let's go back to the story that you said that you wanted to talk about.
Okay, I had an amazing experience on April 1st. And I wrote about it in TFR, in the Fearless TFR group. And it seems kind of random when it happens. It's not something, and it's not something that's really happened before, although I've had many awakenings and energetic strangeness my whole life. But I was just sitting outside, listening to the birds, our chickens, and just hanging out, knitting something, of course, as usual, you know. And I just suddenly had this feeling that something really huge was shifting. And I couldn't equate it to anything. It seems really random when it happens, although I'm sure there are lots of processes happening multidimensionally and multifractally and underneath everything else that I am not accessing at the moment that is making those things happen, right? But those feelings. But it was really fascinating. It's kind of hard to explain. Did you read that post?
I haven't been in, I don't even, probably since the beginning of the month. Like I said,
it was kind of like, if you think about the plates underneath the earth, that whole idea of plates shifting and hitting each other and things like that, that's kind of how it felt like to me. It felt like something, and also the feeling in the gut, you know, like when you're at the top of a roller coaster and you're about to come down the other side and your stomach just kind of goes, and it twists or somersaults or just kind of leaps on you in a way. And that feeling that I had, it came from the same place that kind of feeling would have, but it was more energetic than physical. So it wasn't like my stomach flipped, and I felt like something was shifting. It actually felt like I was talking through a million mouths, and I was thinking with a million brains, and I was feeling with a million hearts. It felt like all of these different versions of myself, like all these different fractals, which are all complete on their own, were being reintegrated. And
oh my God.
Yeah, and it was really weird because I felt like the thoughts that I was thinking were being thought by multiple versions of me at the same time. So it wasn't just like this identity, Holly was doing this, Holly was feeling this. It was really, really, it was so hard to explain. That's why I'm having such a hard time with it.
No, I'm getting it.
Yeah, it's almost like bilocation or like bilocality or whatever, you know, and to have all of these different, how do I say it? I have to wonder if all of the different versions of myself, or if many other different versions of myself, were all feeling this at the same time, wherever they are, whatever they're doing. And now that I'm saying this, I'm starting to get like really excited energy,
Yeah.
which just came up in the last like 5 seconds.
Wow.
So yeah, just a lot of nervous energy surrounding it, but it felt really powerful. And that feeling of like tectonic plates shifting or something like that. I mean, if we are the earth and the earth is us, even though this is a simulation, whatever, you know, that whole we parallel as above, so below, you know, that's really how it felt like to me. That's the best way I can equate it in a physical
That's
sense,
awesome.
like plates moving underneath soil and rock, you know?
I can almost feel that as you're explaining that. I can almost feel that.
Yeah.
I know.
Super weird feeling.
That's really awesome.
Yeah. And then of course I posted it in the Fearless TFR, and for anyone watching this, this is how Laureen and I know each other, is we met through Fearless TFR. Frank and Paula's show. If you haven't checked it out, you should check it out. But I posted it because I was like, I'm wondering if anyone else has had this experience, and especially in the last 24 hours. And I had 16 responses, you know, of people saying, yep.
Yeah.
You know, like, yeah. And it's really, and I was talking to Randy about it, you know, and he was saying like, this seems to be part of the process, you know, of having this, I'm paraphrasing, having this bilocality, this multifractal experience where all of a sudden you're feeling the convergence of all of these different fractal yous, you know, for lack of a better whatever. And it's really poignant, and it's, people said that I explained it really, really well, even though I'm at a loss as to how to explain this, because it was so etherical and it was so energetic, and it's not really something that I mean, like I said, the tectonic plate idea is the closest physical way that I could actually think of to explain it, to describe it. And it was very powerful.
So
and then
the energy around it, you said that it was did you say a nervous energy or a?
No, I'm having a nervous energy talking about it.
Oh, okay.
But when I felt it, it was very calm.
Were you like excited? Was it an exciting feeling, like almost like, you know, when you're about to get a gift that you've been waiting for so long, and you know it's coming?
Yes, but very tranquil.
Tranquil.
Yeah, like right now when talking about it, I feel very nervous, and my heart is a little faster, and my breath is a little more raggedy and things like that. And it wasn't like that at all. It was just like, whoa, this feeling that I'm feeling is very interesting. It was very calm. It was very tranquil. And then I actually experienced it again a few days later. I was emailing with Randy, and I wrote to him, Randy Moggins of Off Planet Radio.
Yeah.
I wrote to him, and I was telling him all about this experience, because they had just had a Patreon live chat with like 30 of us, and they were talking about something completely different. And so I didn't come in and talk about that experience, because I was like, well, I don't want to derail what they're talking about, because it's like everything's connected, but on the surface it was very much disconnected. So I'm just going to leave it. So afterwards I wrote to him, and I told him all about that experience. And what was my point to that? Just the fact that I was telling him about the experience, even just writing about the experience, I started to feel it again. And I felt it for about 20 minutes as that happened. So that to me deduces that there's something that we can do or say or tap into that actually will reactivate. That's how I can say it. It felt like an activation. What was happening. And all of these beings or versions of myself all converging into one point. And I don't know. I have so many questions and so many answers.
That's awesome.
So many questions to those answers.
My thought about it is that the more you go back in your memory and think about it and feel it again, the more you're going to remember. And the more you talk about it too, the more you're going to remember.
Yeah.
So you need to write all this down, so that there's a timeline.
Yeah.
So you can start a timeline on it, because this is interesting.
I need to be better about writing things down.
You
I
know what?
used to be,
Me too.
I used to be so avid about journaling and everything. But the journaling that I was doing, it was from a perspective of, like my growing up situation wasn't amazing. So like there was a lot of fighting and I had to define myself and things like that. So it was my way of escape, but also my way of releasing from a negative situation. And now I don't live in a negative situation. I live in a very positive situation. So I don't feel that need anymore to write as much.
Right.
And, but yeah, that is something,
so maybe now that you don't
that I'd like to look back into.
Write as much, when something is happening, if you can remember right away,
yeah,
when something starts happening that you should be recording, because especially now is a good time, right? Maybe that's why you're in a situation where you don't have to record a lot, just when these things happen.
Yeah.
Your journey in this evolution journey of yours, put it down on paper. Start now, because that was a big. You know what? You're right. I think activation too.
Yeah. Yeah.
Wow. Really, that's big.
It was very poignant, and it, things like that. It reminds me of the theory of that when we die, maybe we don't just come back in. Maybe we sink into another version of ourselves, and then we just continue on. So it's like I'm like bastardizing what the actual theory is, but Sylvia Browne talked about it once, many years ago, this idea that, when you have had a really traumatic experience where you go, I should have died. Maybe you did.
Exactly. Maybe you did. Right. I believe that. And you know what? Sylvia Browne, it's funny that you brought her up, because my journey started with her first book.
Yes.
And I bought all her books afterwards. And I have a library of her books. And CDs and all this stuff, because that made sense to me when she started to get, when she started to get out there. I used to watch her on Montel Williams all the time.
Yeah, me too.
And that's a lot of my journey started there. And she had the answers that I was looking for. Not only did she have the answers I was looking for, when I had Christopher in 2000 and he was going through night terrors, I was reading a book of hers at that time where she had a whole section where you could go in while they were sleeping, on your knees next to their bed, into their ear as softly as you can, and you say this thing. And I said it to him every night for a week, and they were gone.
Yeah. Nice.
He was like dead nuts on that stuff. And you know what? A lot of people put her down. A lot of people, like I said, mind your business. You don't like it, don't fucking watch it. You don't like it, don't do it. Right? I mean, you have the choice. But people, she's a fake, she's a fraud, whatever. But you know what? We're all fakes and frauds to some degree. I mean, and
there's somebody out there who will think that you're a fake and a fraud no matter what you do.
Absolutely.
So you just got to keep being you, right?
But she helped me on my journey, and
yes, me too.
Have such gratitude for that woman. I can't even tell you. Yep. I mean, she helped me, and that's all I care. It helped me. This might not help you, but it helped me. And
it's a stepping stone.
It helped you. So there you go. She helped, even if she helps one person out of everything. She did her job. But people love her. She was here in Michigan all the time. I always wanted to go see her, but I could never afford to. But anyways, that's an awesome experience.
Oh yeah.
For real.
Yeah.
I mean,
it was very, I've had many very interesting experiences. But this was another aspect of it, is there was an element of it that felt very mushroomy. It felt like I had taken some psilocybin. Yeah, and I had it.
DMT was kicking in.
I guess so.
Yeah.
I guess so. And it was just crazy. Regarding the Sylvia Browne thing, and anybody else like that, who, I mean, obviously she was very polarizing and probably still is, you know, but it's a stepping stone. It's a stepping stone to your expansion and your evolution. And so
absolutely,
I think as long as you can, it always irks me when somebody doesn't like somebody, so they throw out absolutely everything that they say. And it's like, just take the little teeny tiny things and put them in your puzzle or your little puzzle box for later. You know, you don't have to take everything someone says.
Exactly,
you know?
because these things are going to come up later in life, and you're going to remember all about it, and then you're going to be like, oh my God, that so makes sense, right? Well, remember, I was writing a book the other night. Everything we're talking about, honest to God, Holly.
Of course, it lines up, right?
Oh, it lines up perfectly. And let me see if I can find it. If I can find it, I will. I'll be able to find it. I went through this book this morning. Oh, it's got to be at the front. And I'm so glad that Solaris, when she did my timeline reading, she said, you need to start writing. She said, you have answers to things, and you need to start writing. And I've heard this through my life when I did go to a psychic or did look deeper into things that I should be writing. That was one thing that used to come up all the time. You should be writing. And so since I had my reading with her, I have kept it in the back of my mind. Like I said, time for me, it's hard to just sit down and do stuff like this. But after I had my little smoky treat, here it is. After I had my little smoky treat, I told you, the wheel started turning and it wasn't stopping. So like you, when we started this conversation, and that's probably not going to be in the recording, but when you said, you made a statement at the beginning, and you said, damn, what did you say? Something about this. Okay, let me just start it, and then maybe I'll remember it.
Yeah.
So I started thinking, I got on this path, and I'm like, oh my God. The more I thought about it, the more things were making sense to me. And so I started it like this. Affirmations, reading Renee Baribeau's books, Sandra Ingerman's books, it gives me motivation and brings me a type of peace inside. And when I have these times that I seem to retreat, now, remember I told you, I haven't been answering emails. I retreat from things, and that's why I haven't been on. I figured it out last night when I got high, and I was just, oh my God, this is why I do it. Because I do ask myself, I ask myself questions. So when I have those times that I seem to retreat, when I contract and go inside, I find myself asking myself questions, and I try to understand why I do the things that I do. And I wonder if it's a type of depression, or is it unhappiness? Those are the questions I ask myself. I go deep, and I'm like, am I depressed? Do I feel happy? Like, I try to get these answers. I just try to pull them out of myself. And tonight, April 9th, whoa, did I get that wrong? Today's the 11th, right? Night before last. I think I figured it out. I've been conscious of this happening for some time, and I've been asking the questions for some time as well. I can't give a timeline on it. I don't know how long I've been doing this internally. Okay, so I can't give a timeline, but I think I got the answer. And then at the bottom, I went back and I said, about every 6 months or so I do this, where it's on a deep level. Because I remember last time I left Facebook for a while, I couldn't bring myself to get back on there. And when I did, I was like, oh my God, what did I do? but it wasn't something that I did. It might have been something I created, but are these people still gonna, you know, be okay with me? And Frank's probably wondering why I left. You know, I was talking to Jimmy on a regular basis. Poor Jimmy. I was like, I got to get connected to these people again. And then Rock and I were in contact on the phone and via text and stuff, and or messaging. And he kept saying, Laureen, where are you? Where are you? And I was like, I just needed to separate. I need to breathe. Say, okay. So I get stuck in ruts, as I call them. And I find that I step back from things for a while so I can clear and process and give thoughts to all I've learned and everything while I was interacting with everyone, right? Listening to things, reading things and videos, and I binge, and then I have to process, right?
Yes.
There are so many great people with such great information, and I find I get to a point that I think I have to get quiet and go inside and disconnect for a while to integrate and process, keep the gnosis I resonate with, and ponder the rest, and discard what I think I don't need at this time. Sometimes I go back to it and decide to give it another look to see if it still resonates, or if I missed anything. And sometimes I get the feeling like it's not useful to me at this point and put it aside.
Yeah.
I've learned so much from so many people, from the Fearless family, Frank and Paula and Jimmy and Rihanna, and just everybody I connect with in there. Ruth Ramos, she's got a lot of good stuff too. Et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, because there's so many people, right? Kristen Shree, Savon Bomar, Elizabeth April, and the shaman groups that I'm in. They're amazing. It's amazing information. I feel others as well. I feel blessed to have manifested such wonderful people in my life, for sure. It's a true blessing. And you know, from everything like me and you talk about from the beginning when we started this journey, I never thought in my wildest dreams I would connect with people that had the same information I had the same feelings I had the same experiences I had. That's why I tend to say we're wounded healers, and we're all connecting at this time for a reason, and I believe it. So for sure, it's a true blessing, and my growth has been amazing. And my growth, I have to give credit to everybody I've connected with through the Fearless group, and you. And I don't have anybody outside the computer that I can sit with and that I can be real with, because they don't want to see real me. They want to see what they want to see. So I have to give them who they think that they need to see today. And it's the hardest thing because it's a mask, and I hate wearing masks. I hate it. I won't even put one on at Halloween because I feel that it's so unnecessary. My growth has been amazing, and I have such gratitude and love for the people in my life. I'm talking about you people, especially now at this time on our planet. It's exciting times for sure, and I'm so happy that we chose each other to be a part of each other's journey and help each other evolve. I don't know how long, and that's where it ended.
It's great.
So again, an experience that I went through having just a little bit of, you know, great marijuana in my system. And I had one at Christmas time too, which was it's probably going to be too long to say on this one, but we can go into that on another one. It was amazing. I had the most amazing feelings going through my body that I have never experienced in my life. And I think that was my natural DMT kicking in. And when it kicked in, I started crying, and I started laughing, and I was crying. It was going back and forth, but it was on the most deepest level that I have ever experienced in my life. I've never cried on those levels before. And I've never laughed at those levels before.
That's wonderful.
And I could feel it in my arms and my legs. I could feel it in my body. It was the most blissful experience I've never experienced since, but talking about it, I can somewhat bring it back. And I haven't talked about this with anybody. I did on one of my meditations, very, very short. It wasn't the whole thing, but I can't talk about this stuff to anybody.
Yeah. I think that's one reason we wanted to do this show, right? Is because there's so many people out there who are in the same situation where the only real deep connection they get, where they can talk about all these weird things that they go through, is people on the internet. And
with us weird people.
Yeah. And so to do a show like this, like just to talk, just to have two friends talking and letting everybody know through our conversations, there ain't nothing wrong with you. You're fine. You're not crazy, like there, or maybe we're just all collectively delusional. I've entertained that thought, but
I prefer that over the thing that's called normal. I will go against the grain till the day I die.
Yeah.
I went against the grain since the day I was born, and I will never follow suit. I am not
I think it's not even you going against the grain. I think I know from my experience, I just naturally never, ever went in that direction. I always went in the other direction and was wondering, why is everybody going in that direction? It doesn't make any sense to me.
It never felt right either when I tried. Every time I tried, thinking there was something wrong with me, because this information wasn't out then, it was like, I didn't feel good about it. I didn't like that. I didn't want to be that herd mentality, that herd. I felt that way back then, but never had the words for it. Right? Yep. In school, I was always the chick or the kid that went for the opposite of what everybody else was going for. The teachers could never deal with me. They could never deal with me. I drove them nuts.
Yeah, me too.
I'm happy about that now.
Yeah, I'm happy about that too. That's really great. But it's interesting because based on something that you just read from what you wrote, I've always my whole life been a loner. I've never really had people that I was close to because I was always hiding in my room and writing and singing and making music and drawing and playing games that I loved, and it was always constantly about creative expression and everything. So I didn't need to hang out with people, and and when I became a teenager, I was still a loner because I was in the studio making music and doing my first album and all that other stuff, and I didn't fit in with my high school friends and all of that because they weren't doing the same sorts of things, and then just every different group of my life, every different age group of my life, I tended to be the loner and stick to myself because that's what's most comfortable. But I definitely find, like, in the last, I want to say like 6 months, definitely since like September of 2018, I've been noticing a huge shift in not just myself, but in other people too, where it's like we are coming together and we are finding each other. And now, I just looked out the window and there's a deer.
Oh my God.
There's a deer just out in the front yard. Yeah.
That's fine. That's fine. I'm gonna get my deer card.
But yeah, I've really noticed this huge shift, and it's especially really prevalent. I always get those two mixed up. Obvious in myself because of these decades of lonerism, and I've essentially always been the hermit card in the throwback, so to suddenly be like, okay, before you and I talked, like on Zoom or whatever, I was so nervous. I was so terrified of talking to people because I'm also very shy, which people are always shocked about because I'm very vocal, so that always throws people off. But I've always been very shy as well and sticking to myself and everything. And so before conversations, like the one time I talked to Frank before I became one of the fearless artists, we had a little meeting and talked to each other, and I was really nervous beforehand, but of course he made me feel really good like 2 minutes in. And then the first time I talked to Randy and I did the show on Off Planet Media, I was not terrified, but beforehand I was like, oh, okay, I'm going to be talking to Randy Moggins from Off Planet, he's so brilliant and so great, and I'm just going to sound like such an idiot in comparison,
No.
And then, and before talking to you the first time, even though we already have this connection and we both could feel it, you know, I was very nervous. And now I've gotten to this place where I talk to Randy regularly, and I talk to you pretty regularly, you know, and I try to talk to other people. And it's really, really funny because a lot of that nervousness has just
Yep.
like it's not important anymore to have the shields up and to protect ourselves so much from each other. I think we are coming together because we all need to protect each other from something else.
Yeah,
perhaps.
but it's a learned behavior too, because while you're hermiting, while you're growing up,
Yep.
and you're the owner and you're hermiting, you are protecting yourself. And,
Yes.
and so because you've done that for so many years, you can
It's
drop
comfortable.
that protection now because you don't need it with the right people, because you always have to be cautious, right? I know who I can be me with, and I know who I have to put that mirror up. Oh God, it's crazy, and I don't like doing it. But because
it sucks.
I was always by myself, and you know what? Even up until up until I joined the Fearless group. Now I'm opening up. Now I don't, with the people on there. I don't need to put a shield up. And I can get online with any of them and talk. And I've connected with a few online and just had conversations like me and you are having, and it was amazing.
Yeah.
And I never experienced that in my life. And hey, come on, I'm in the fall of my life, and it's taken all this time. What the hell, right?
Yeah.
It just
but you can be a work in progress and a masterpiece at the same time.
Absolutely. But you know what? I cherish those moments, and I still love to be by myself. And that's one thing they say: if you can love being by yourself, you've got a good start on things. And I do like being by myself because I'm my best company as far as I'm concerned. I always was.
Absolutely.
But when I do connect with somebody, like when me and you connect and we're on the same level, it's like one soul, like just with two mouths. It's almost because we feel and have gone through so many similar things that how can you not say that we're from the same pod?
Yeah, I like how you said pod. Yeah.
Right? And all of the other people we connect with like this, we're all from the same pod. We have to be from the same friggin' planet, if that's, like, I believe in stuff like that. Or we're just the same mold.
We're on the same frequency for some reason.
Yes. And we've been through so many similar things. And I really believe, and I hate that word. I don't know. I'll find a different word for that.
You currently feel.
Yeah. I know there's a word. I do think of these things too on a regular basis, about words and their meanings, and I do bring it up in conversations even with my husband and my son, and I'll say, oh, do you know what you just said? You just yourself. Right? And then they look at me and like, you're crazy sometimes. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. I have one of those that I say all the time, because whenever someone says to me, I'm so jealous, I go, okay. The word jealous in Swedish is svartsjuk, which literally means black sick. So if the words you're saying create your reality, and because I do speak some Swedish, I think in terms of that as well, right? It's like, so those words have some sort of effect on my reality and how I use them, right? So, to think that the word jealous means black sick, the moment that I learned that back in 2005, when I first started studying Swedish, I was just like, yeah, I'm not going to say jealous anymore. I am not jealous. And I never was really a jealous person to begin with for anything, because my only competition is me from yesterday.
I wanted the best for everybody. And for some reason, everybody treated me like they were jealous.
Yeah.
Of what? I don't have anything. You know what I mean? Like, we were poor growing up.
Yeah. Plus the hardships you do tend to go through that most, like the normies, don't realize, being the outsider and being the person who doesn't fit in, and especially when you're a kid, that's especially hard when you're a kid until you get to that point where you're like,
it is.
well, I don't want to fucking belong. I don't want to, because look at how messed up everything is, and
it's very
people
hard.
seem so unhappy, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then
So
you go through those periods as a kid where you're like, how come I don't have any friends?
Yeah.
This girl's walking around the courtyard or the recess with all these girls around her, like she's a fucking god. And I was always in a corner by myself, waiting for the time to go by so I could get back into class. Not that I liked school; I hated school.
Yeah, me too.
But it's like hierarchies. It's like it was bred right into us. I mean, our school was here, and the fucking church was here, right on the same lot. And I was raised Catholic, right?
Yeah.
But I renounced all of that. I burned my birth certificate, or not my birth certificate, my baptismal. I burned all my kids' baptismals. I did. And I said ceremonies over them to break the bonds. I did. Because the shit that went on at that school was not spiritual. They had the French people on this side of the school and the English people on this side of the school with fences. We couldn't interact.
Oh, wow.
They separated us. What the hell is that?
Why?
And I was French. I told you, right? Fluently French. I spoke in French. I sang in French. Everything I did was in French. I wrote in French for 4 years. Started in kindergarten. I was fluently French. All my friends were French. I had friends in French.
I don't understand.
So switched me over to English. I'm now with people that wanted nothing to do with me because I was French, and they went to the same school. So
it was a school that, was it a French immersion school?
Yeah, it was French and English mix.
Oh, okay.
So
but then they'd separate you for recess.
They didn't do that at first. When I first started that school,
oh, okay.
Mingling. But in grade 4, they put fences up, and the English people were on one side, and the French were on. You know what that is? Divide and conquer.
Yeah, no kidding.
The way the Catholics love it.
Yeah.
Divide and conquer.
But it's a French immersion school, right? That doesn't really.
We started fighting. The French people were fighting with the English people. And the were fighting with the French people. Where we were mingling before that.
Yeah.
As soon as they separated us, one group thought they were better than the other.
Yep.
That's just how it went.
As soon as you were separated, you all started thinking you were separate.
Yeah.
From each other.
Because, right? That's the psyche, right? There's now a border. There's now something separating us. So that when my mom switched me into English in grade 4, which should have never happened.
Yeah.
But, the alcohol and everything got involved and blah, blah, blah. I know better. My French friends that I did have stopped talking to me because now I was in an English class.
That's crazy.
Now when I think back about it, I'll tell you what, everything that's happened on this planet, and even before we were here, everything that they did to destroy who we were, it's all coming to an end.
I think so too.
And they're all gonna get what they've sown. Every fucking one of them.
Well, karma exists in this realm.
So
karma exists in this realm.
Oh, absolutely.
So, that's going to be something they'll probably have to deal with at some point. Although,
popcorn and my water, and I'm going to sit and watch. My popcorn like the big old movie it's supposed to be.
It does really feel like something really big is currently happening, and I keep seeing it everywhere I go. Not just the YouTube videos I check out, but like I'm in a couple different Reddits that are more catered to this kinds of stuff, like Soul Nexus and retconned and stuff. Where retconned is where people tend to talk about Mandela effects more than anything.
Right.
But it's all connected, right? Because if this is a simulation, which that's my current take on everything, because everything I've ever experienced almost leads me to go, well, it definitely
absolutely
is.
You play Sims.
It's my favorite game.
What do you think's happening here?
Exactly.
And you know what? And every time you level up, you get a mushroom. But I wish it was real mushrooms.
Oh, I like that. No, that's Mario. That's Mario.
I know.
Yeah, but yeah, that's a good one.
Video game too.
Yeah, wouldn't that be great? So that's funny because that takes me back to the experience that I had on April 1st. Yeah. You know, which was that feeling of like, this almost feels like a mushroom trip, but I'm not getting the depth and the breadth of it. Instead, yeah. I'm not getting high from that experience, and instead I'm able to observe it a little bit better than when I do actually have psilocybin, you know. So
but you got your upgrade, right?
Yeah.
Just like
yeah. So I should, based on what you just said, I should have gotten a free mushroom, but
you did.
Yeah, I did.
You got an etheric mushroom. You had the experience. You felt like you had a mushroom.
Yeah.
Your natural DMT kicked in. What do you think that is?
And I need to figure out how to do that more often because it does feel.
You know what? If we could figure that out, Holly, that's where we would be living.
Yeah.
I live in that
in the DMT realm.
Every day. I would.
Yeah.
I would.
And what was super weird is the first time I had a really intense mushroom trip, it was, well, actually, I've had a few over the years, especially in the last like 4 years, but the most intense was last September. And I started to see, you know, you get to the point where you start to see the mandalas everywhere and the geometry and it's all just kaleidoscoping in front of you, you know, and that was September it was not my first mushroom trip, September, but it was the first time that I'd ever experienced the mandalas and the kaleidoscope effect on top of everything. And I just found myself going, holy shit. Because I've been drawing mandalas and released a mandala coloring book. And like for years, I've been drawing mandalas. So I've never seen the things, but I've been drawing them, like getting almost like accessing a deep part of myself and putting it out on paper. And then I got the confirmation through my experiences, which is very interesting. And I have a friend of mine, Bibi, who's a fellow Pisces, and she's very spiritual and very connected. And, she doesn't quite talk about the stuff we talk about, but she has said to me before, sometimes I just know things. And she's like, and it's in no way ego or anything. And I'm like, I totally know exactly what you're talking about. Sometimes I just say things and go, well, I don't have any proof of that, but I know that. You know, GNO, you know, gnosis. I know it to be true. And
you're tapping in. When those things happen, and it happens to me all the time, I know I'm tapping in.
Yeah.
And as a kid, I can go back now, going back to childhood stuff. If you think about it, if you go back to your childhood stuff, you were tapping in then too.
Yes.
Because I know now, so many things that I would never be able to explain to my sisters. I would never be able to have this conversation with them because I think they're NPCs.
Yep. Because it's just inherent in you to have always naturally. I mean, when I was 4 years old, we used to have something, I think it was called religion class. I don't know if it had a better religious studies or something.
Catechism?
But when I was,
Catechism? Over here,
I don't know.
Called catechism.
Okay. I don't know, but it's been banned since, you know, but when I was, when I was 4, it existed in public schools, this religious studies class or catechism or religion class or whatever. And I remember at 4 years old watching, there was an aspect of the class I really liked because the teacher actually was very, very nice. And she came in with this board that had a light on the back of it. And she brought all these little felt figurines of Jesus and Moses and all this. And I loved how she put them down and it would light them up. I really loved that. But the other aspect of it, when I was 4 years old, I was thinking to myself, this isn't true. This is a lie. And I didn't know where that came from. So when I say like to you, you can't really explain it to other people who aren't the same way because it's just always been inherent in you that this is not right. You know, it's like the same thing of I've never felt at home in this world. I've never felt like I belonged here. And I've always had certain people like my mother and like my husband now, who I've known since we were 5 years old.
Right.
You know, I've had a few people, you know, sprinkled throughout my life that helped make this feel more like home, but it's never been home, you know, and I've had dreams my whole life of like cities of crystal in the sky and the clouds and things like that, you know. So I always kind of, and the first time I ever heard of Atlantis, I was just like, oh, that's pinging for me for some reason. I'm just getting pinged like crazy.
Yeah, me too.
And that's really interesting. That wasn't where I was going, but now I'm going to say Chris and Gio, of course. Chris just recently said that he is wondering if Atlantis is home. And that's why so many people like us have this, like, what's the weird thing with Atlantis? Why, when I hear about Atlantis, I feel this weird connection to something or other. And I don't know if this is connected.
I heard you say that. I
yeah.
Right.
Yeah, like that seems right to me. And there was another aspect of what he had said as well. There was actually something somebody said in the Beyond the Veil chat during a live show a week or two ago or something, sometime in March, April, that I was able to catch it. And someone said, look at Egypt. Egypt is like the only country that has a class based on it, Egyptology. We don't have Africaology in universities, right? We don't have Americaology or
those are little clues.
Yeah, Russiaology. Yeah, there's just Egyptology. And even though Egypt apparently wasn't like the first, you know, that there was Assyria and the Sumeria before that, you know, but it's like we don't have Sumeriaology or Assyriaology.
I listened to a woman that does alchemical astrology. And she said Egypt is actually Babylon.
See, there you go. And what is Babylon? Is Babylon a connection to our world outside of whatever this is? You know, it's all very interesting, especially when you look at, like, I'm a linguist who loves languages, and I love the history of language and the etymology of things, you know, and the story of the Tower of Babel is very interesting, because that was like the very first that we know of, I think, moment of division.
Yep.
Right? Because I love all languages, and I even had
let us come down and boil up the language so nobody can communicate, right?
Exactly.
However they put it.
Exactly. And I've always had this connection to all these languages, and I want to, you know, there was even a time in my life, like 10 years ago, where I was like, I want to learn as many languages as possible. That's what I want to do in this life. And, you know, I started focusing on that and started with Swedish, and then I got addicted to Swedish and just loved it. And I didn't really move on from there. But, at the same time, if we were all speaking the same language, but then that gets into like Agenda 21 and the Georgia Guidestones, where it's talking about, you know, get everyone down to one language and uniform everybody so that everybody is an NPC on the surface.
Well, even it doesn't matter what they say, because there's always an agenda behind it that will never benefit us. It's always for their benefit. So I don't, they can say whatever they want, because I already know that's got nothing to do with us. It's about their world, not ours. And there's two different worlds, theirs and ours. But I think that as we evolve and we're figuring little things out here and there with the help of everybody that we have contact with.
Puzzle pieces.
I don't think it's ever going to end. I really don't. I think that it's going to be a long process. And I don't know if it does end, how it would end, as far as understanding everything, because there's so much loss. And I don't think we would be able to get it all at once. You know what I mean? I think it would have to be drip fed to us, and you would have to have the will to want to find it, like we do. I mean, every day I learn something new. When I don't strive for that. I just automatically do it. and I read before I go to bed, or I lately writing has become my new thing, but
that's awesome.
I don't think we're ever going to know everything. I feel so sad about the information that was lost, the information that was taken from us deliberately.
Yeah.
That makes me sad, because it's our ancestors, and our ancestors are back. And our ancestors, I've learned a lot about this during the shamanic people that I follow. And we do, little meditations to connect with our ancestors and stuff like that. I think it's important because they are us, we are them.
Mm-hmm.
And, in a wild imagination that I have, I would just love to just sit there and have it all just downloaded. And try and get through it to help whoever I can help.
I think that's happening.
I think it's happening too.
You just wish you could go click, I want all the downloads, give it to me now.
Yeah.
But like you just said, we've been, even those of us who are awake to certain things, we have been spoon-fed bullshit. Since while we were in the womb, we were spoon-fed bullshit.
Yeah.
You heard it, we felt it, we were around that energy, and
they say you're actually programmed while you're in the womb too, right?
Yep. So now I think what does have to happen to a certain degree is a drip feeding of, and when you say the ancestors are back, I think that the sacred plants really have a huge part.
Absolutely.
Because like ayahuasca, Mother Ayahuasca once said to Frank Castle, I'm going to go mainstream, bud. I mean, I'm paraphrasing in my own colloquial, but I'm going to go mainstream, and then now you see more and more people opening up to the idea of going on retreats for ayahuasca, or making ayahuasca at home, or, and not just ayahuasca, but people are becoming much more open-minded. For the wrong reasons, because now weed is legal in so many more places, but it's like, well, it was always medicine. And whether you get it from a pharma representative, a doctor, or not, it's always medicine. And it's the same thing with mushrooms. But it's now starting to be a lot more socially acceptable. And to that end, I find that exciting, because I think that's where the downloads that you're talking about, they do come from, is from these sacred plants, and other ones we don't tend to talk about so much, like kratom and is it iboga or ibogaine, or and of course DMT and all of that, it's all awakening. Because I'm gonna say, as a chicken mama, I have 35 chickens. As a chicken mama, I've noticed certain things in observing how they relate to humans. And a lot of them are fucking terrified of humans. And my personal theory is, this is because they know. This is because they know that for however long, their brethren, their ancestry, on some level, they probably don't know it consciously, but on some level, I think they know genetically this memory of so many around me get slaughtered by these tall beings, us, right? And I don't eat meat, and I don't eat my birds, and we just use them for eggs and give them tons of love and stuff. But I when I have a chicken that's like, like, don't touch me, leave me alone, I will hold on to her and just keep giving her love, and keep just for a few minutes until she calms the hell down. And then I'll let her go and keep trying to do that, because I want to re-implement, especially in my flock, because you don't want your own birds, especially when you have absolutely zero want or intent to ever hurt them. You don't want them to be afraid of you. But I'm going off on a tangent, as I tend to do. But as in watching them, I think that we have picked up that shit as well. We haven't just picked up all of the weird genetic markings from our father and our mother and our grandfathers and our grandmothers, and all the shit that they went through. We're also picking it up from thousands and thousands and thousands of years of maybe not even people that have been connected to us bloodline wise, but just the energetics itself of the trauma and the bloodshed and the war and the rape and everything that's been in this realm.
I think that, didn't Chris and Frank and Paula both talk about that it's in our DNA because
Mm-hmm.
we've been murdered. We've been
Uh-huh.
killed for for trying to change the world. We've been, I believe that I was a witch. I was
Oh,
very
totally. Me too.
too many things in my life tell me that, you know, that is a real deal for me.
Yeah.
And other lives too. I mean, I've had readings where they said I studied with Merlin, and I've been collecting wizards and dragons for years.
That's awesome.
And right? So where'd that come from, right? So I know we've had our traumas, like Chris remembers lifetimes where he was crucified and hung and tortured, and we've all been there. They tried to snuff us out, and we just keep, you know, coming back and trying again, and, you know, stronger every time.
And not just we've had that all done to us, we've probably done all that to others
too, like they said too, as well. Yeah, exactly. Because it's all right. We're all growing and we're all evolving, whatever that means.
Yeah. So that just makes me think, in saying that these energies, these ancient energies or ancestral energies are coming back in order to teach us and give us back some of that information that we've lost.
Yeah.
Yes. I don't know. I think it's definitely changing things. I mean, I have this saying, which is, you know, if you want to build a new house, you have to tear down the old one. You know,
everything, yeah.
And that's what's happening is this chaotic, you know, and people can blame it on whoever they want. So, you know, oh, blame it on a president or a prime minister who are just puppets to something much higher than them anyway, you know, or I'm going to blame it on my neighbor. I'm going to blame it on my parents, and they'll blame it on my, you know.
Well, the blame game is another thing that's got to go.
Yeah,
people need to start
absolutely.
taking responsibility.
And guilt. You can take responsibility without wallowing in guilt.
Exactly.
You know, because guilt is guilt. I view guilt as right there with like jealousy and shame, just these things that the only purpose in my eyes that things like guilt and jealousy and shame actually attain for you or teach you is the lesson that you don't want to feel guilty or jealous or ashamed. You know,
if you learn by it, by it. People that hold on to shit like that, like guilt is a I think is a product of when you were young, you really never did anything wrong. You were only just living and growing. And when your parents shamed you, and shame is big too, shame has to go. I never shamed my kids. I always explained why or why not. I never, and Wonderful. I didn't know. I was growing myself. I was dealing with a lot of things that I had to heal when I had them. And I got through it. I'm still doing it. I think it will be a never ending thing. But my biggest thing when I started having kids was that I would never, ever do to them what was done to me as a child. I broke that cycle with them. Yep. They thanked me now. They're in their 30s. I mean, one's 27, one just turned 30, and I've got one that's 33. They have all said to me, thank you for the way you raised us. Thank you for what you taught us when we were little. We knew that you were going to be there if something happened and you needed to go talk to somebody. We knew you were going to be there. And Liz just said it to me the other day. She said, everything you taught us, like, it has helped me in life. I didn't want to let them down. I let them down when I, but no kid wants to see that. But in order for me to survive, that's what had to happen. Otherwise,
you grow
here.
You grow together.
Yes. You know? Yes. And there was years that they didn't talk to me when I was living over here, and they're still over there. But it was a hard thing and another growing experience for me. But now the gifts to me are that they appreciate, and now they know. Thank you for teaching me how to plant gardens. Thank you for teaching me, because I did gardening for years. They were always with me planting flowers, and they're all doing it now. They're all growing their own gardens. They all have
That's wonderful.
You know what I mean? Like, those are gifts I gave to them that I didn't want to give them the shit that I came with. You know, the shit that I knew that I had to get through. And in going through all that stuff and healing, I was able to be their rock, their teacher, and put all that stuff aside until they went to bed at night, and then read again. And you know, my ex was like, if you're reading books like that, I'm gonna read books like that. It wasn't about that. I'm trying to help myself. I'm trying to figure out what the fuck happened, right?
Yeah.
He got mad over it, like, oh, fuck yourself. But you know, like, it's something I will never stop on this journey. It's gotten me this far. It's done well for me. And yeah.
Well, I think people like us, we were on this journey before we even knew we were on it anyway.
Absolutely.
It's inherent, you know, and that's why at 4 years old you have thoughts like religion is a lie, and you know, and things like that, you know, because it's already there in you, deep inside you, that intuition and that connection. You know, I've always felt like I was straddling two worlds, and I still feel that way. And
me too. Me too.
Like, and most of the time that world or the dream time world feels way more real to me than this one. You know, like I had if I have a really bad dream, it can just fuck up my whole day, like big time, because it feels so real. It feels so much more impactful than when something happens in this realm that's dramatic or crazy. And I don't know, you know, this is going off slightly on another topic, but if you look back at your dreams over the years that you remember, I can say from my vantage point that most of my dreams are fighting dreams, and I always win. It's always like 1,000 zombies or normies coming at me at once, wanting to fight me for some reason or another. And I'm punching people and I'm kicking people and I'm making stuff happen and I'm saying, fuck you, get out of my face. But it's not just a defense thing. It's that I'm actually a victor. I'm actually winning, and I'm able to progress to the next thing. And I actually view that as a really positive thing. However, when I wake up the next day from a dream like this, I'm exhausted.
Yes. you are going to different levels and fighting.
Yeah.
You are the light fighting the dark.
That's
probably what you're doing, because you're waking up tired. I just sort of talked on this the other day. If you're waking up tired, you are on other dimensions fighting while you're sleeping. And they say people that do that need to really rest during the day, because you need to keep your strength up, because you need it here too. You can't drain yourself over there and have nothing left here, because you have to live this life.
Yeah. So do you find that that's very, very interesting that you just recently were hearing about something like that. But also, what do you find when you look back at your repertoire of dreams over your life? What do you find is a main theme? Because for me, it's always been fighting. It's always been getting through something and progressing to like the next level.
I went through several different scenarios with my dreams. Now, I had a lot of fear dreams. I was being chased a lot. I was losing my teeth. I couldn't speak. There was a lot of fear dreams. And then I evolved to the point where I didn't have the fear dreams anymore. I had the fighting dreams.
Yes.
But I was attacked a lot in school. A lot of people went after me a lot in school. I had to fight my way through high school, for God's sakes, physically. I never lost a fight. I'll tell you that right now.
That's right, baby.
But I didn't want to fight. I didn't have a choice, right? If I didn't fight, I was going to get pummeled. I went through the fighting things, and then I learned from Sylvia to turn around in your dreams and face when you're getting chased. I learned that. I went through that period, and oh my God, how empowering that was.
Yeah.
Because when I turned around and said whatever she said to say, it's been a long time since I had a dream like that. I don't have fear dreams anymore. Good. So I'm going to tell you about a dream I had.
Okay.
This was like last year. So this is another phase I'm going through in dreams right now is this. So I was dreaming, and the freaking that Pope Ratzinger popped into my dream.
Creepy.
And I'm thinking, what the hell are you doing here? Where did that come from? So he's standing in my face, and I looked at him and I said, you are nothing but a piece of shit. I just started telling him off in my dream.
Yep.
And his face changed and his eyes got red. And I was like, really? Didn't scare me at all. Where in other times that would have been a fear dream. And I started just telling him off and telling everything that, you shouldn't.
It feels really good, doesn't it? Even in dreams, to be like, fuck you. It's just like, it's so empowering.
His face started to get really wrinkly and ugly.
Yep.
That didn't scare me either. And then all of a sudden, poof, he was gone. And I woke up feeling so empowered.
Yeah.
I have no idea why. I just needed to, I don't know why he came to my dream, but he did, and he got what he deserved, as far as I was concerned. So this is what happens in my dreams now. I'm so empowered because I have learned so much about myself, and I'm so sure about my power now that nothing affects me in my dreams anymore. And most of the time now, I see trees. Trees are in my dreams constantly, and I was floating above them and looking at valleys with water and all this stuff. I don't know why. It's so calming and so serene. I don't have dreams with people in them anymore. It's either animals, trees, psychedelic like looking things.
Mm-hmm.
I haven't had dreams with people in them for ages now.
Very interesting.
So yes, but those fighting dreams were awesome.
Yeah, they are, because like you were saying, the fear dreams are not very good. And
when you learn to face them, that's when you're like, oh my God.
Yeah. And I think the last fear dream I had was it was within like a year or so ago, but it's not fears the same way that my fears used to be. It's more people I really, really care about abandoning me. So that will be my fear dream sort of thing. But it used to be other things like dogs attacking me and things like that. Because I was attacked by a dog when I was 7. So
yeah, when I was younger, I was attacked by a dog. I still love them though.
I love them now too. We have cats and chickens, but I'm not going to see a dog and be like, oh no, like I'm going to be like, hi baby, I love you immediately. Yeah, exactly. But that's what my fear dreams used to be, and now my fear dreams are something different. And my last one was probably like 6-8 months ago, and it was just my family attacking me. And then I woke up the next morning just like, because I was crying in the dream and also as I was coming out of the dream, I woke up like whimpering in my bed, right?
Yeah.
And then that sits with you, that like haunts you.
Well, yeah, because it's pain that you don't want to experience.
Yeah.
When I released my connection with my family, because I didn't have a choice. I had to break some cycles, and that's the only way I could do it. It was one of the hardest things, and I cried a lot, right? Because it's something you don't want to do, but you know you have to do because that's the only way you're going to heal. Let's get rid of the shit, right? So just recently when I said to you, you had emailed me and I said, Holly, you need to let go. Right? And you need to, your biggest fears played out in your dreams.
Oh, yeah.
And a lot of times they'll play out in your dreams to give you the strength to do what you need to do when it comes, because you've already felt the pain in your dream. I've had those dreams. They took me to my next level because the dream meant something. And even though I didn't know I was understanding what it meant at the time, subconsciously I knew. And a lot of times the hardest things in life to deal with, you're going to dream about it or have visions about it before it's going to happen, of how to go about doing it and how are you going to feel. Like this morning I said to you, when something happens to Toby, I don't know how I'm going to deal with it. Yes, he's an animal, but
that means that doesn't mean less to me,
Right.
Yeah.
But I just think that the answers are there if you're conscious enough to recognize it.
Yeah.
When you are getting a message like in a dream like that, you had that dream because once you did accept the fact that you needed to let go and not allow the crap in your life, because what was holding you down, a lot of your issues when you were talking online, when I first started talking with you, had to do with needing to let go of the crap to go to your next level. Otherwise, it's not going to come. That has to happen for the new to come in. Like you talked about the foundation of the house. Foundations have to be destroyed in order for something new to grow.
Yeah, you got to tear down the old house to build a new one.
Not just a physical building, but your life too.
Yes.
My life, it happened a few times. I went through the dark night and my foundations were destroyed many times. And I'm not sure if it's done.
Well, if you're still here, it's probably not done in this roller coastery life, you know.
Exactly. But every time it happens, you get stronger about it.
Yes.
Every time it happens, you have an idea of where you're going, where the first few times it happened in my life, I was lost.
Yeah. So then this takes me into something that I've been questioning, because we have this, it's multifractal, multidimensional what I'm thinking of here, but I'm thinking of like the AI that powers this simulation and puts its little NPCs everywhere and puts its systems everywhere and is behind all of the biggest systems that we have, you know, health and government and religion and all this other stuff, in order to keep people controlled and divided and beaten down so that they don't think they are anything, that they can rise up. But here's what's happening in that situation. You know, things have gotten so terrible that people are waking up. Even the NPCs are, whether they are copying what we're doing, and it's somehow expanding their programming or whatever, whether they're copying what we're doing or they're actually waking up, for lack of a, you know, waking up. Now it has been so perverted, the whole, oh, are you woke? You know, like all that stupid shit, you know, and it's very, very interesting because it's made me question just in the last couple of days, well, did someone put something into the machine to wake us up? Like it had all these particular codes for a certain, you know, whatever. And then at a certain point, somehow somebody injected something that is making things, I'm not explaining it as well as I explained it to my husband the other day.
I get what you're saying.
Because what's happening is these nefarious things that are meant to bring up, supposedly meant to bring out certain outcomes, like a sicker population or a more dependent population or a more controlled population or divided, right? Is having that effect. Yes. You know, there are people who are getting scared over the next epidemic, you know, fucking measles epidemic that's happening right now, you know, and they're going, oh, we need to all get a bunch of flu shots, get vaccinated and stuff. And so that is happening, that it is working. But on the other side, you're seeing something even bigger, I think, happening on the other side, which is those, and I don't mean to be so polarizing, but that's what the system has done, you know, in that some of even those people are going, well, no, wait a second. Maybe I should be questioning this now, you know, and it may have even been people who didn't question it or were avid non-questioners or you know, professional skeptics in the past about this and other topics, you know, like the vaccination thing or whatever else, you know, not to take it into that territory because that's a whole other freaking thing. And that is so polarizing because it's meant to be, right? You know, and so I've been wondering if someone has injected something into the programming, or at the same time, maybe what Chris and Cherie have talked about going to Egypt and resetting the matrix and all this other stuff, maybe we are actually seeing that, you know, because again, the house has to be demolished before you build a new one in its place. So what we're seeing is the chaos and the apocalypse, right? The uncovering, the unearthing of truth and things are really, really changing. And like you were saying before we started recording, you know, like time is speeding up, and it's not because we're getting older, you know, it's so much deeper than that, you know. We're either, I used to say, my mega awakening happened in like 2008. And I saw a zeitgeist of all things, and it made me go, wait a second, you know? And then because I went down the rabbit hole of money, and I went down the rabbit hole of 9/11, and I went more down the rabbit hole of religion and all that other stuff, it opened me up to all these other things where I was like, okay, there are a lot more rabbit holes, and they're all connected. It's a network of connected rabbit holes, you know?
It is.
But I lost what I was saying.
Well,
what was I saying before I mentioned?
I wondered if it's all connected, like did somebody put them in the machine?
Yes. So it's making me think that we really are seeing that reset happening.
Do you remember Chris saying that we created this?
Yeah, and I fully feel that.
Okay. Did we create it to wake ourselves up? Did we create it so at a time, this time, with all these energies coming in, where the planets are aligned, some of these planets haven't been here the way they are in alignment with other planets for like 500 years, or you know what I mean? Like right now, the age of Aquarius is coming in. Even our astrology charts are off because they screwed that up too. They're not the original one. And did we create this to wake each other up or wake ourselves up? Did we we came in, we chose to come in here. We chose to come in here and fight the good fight. Okay. Everybody has talked about this. Well, not everybody, but you know, people that we listen to have talked about this.
Yes.
Okay. We are the ancestors. We've been here before. We fought the good fight back then and lost. We're not going to lose this time.
Nope.
There's like Chris said, we created it. We're going to fix it. Right?
Yes.
Okay. Now going back to they, I just think that what if everything's in place like this because it's time for us to put our big boy pants and big girl panties on and fight the fucking fight the way it was supposed to be done the first time, which we didn't have a chance. We have a chance now. And is it time to grow up?
Yeah. Take responsibility.
And get real with shit and stop blaming everybody else. I don't give a fuck about AI. You know what? I turn off my
ultimately,
phone whenever I want to turn off my phone. It doesn't control me. I don't have Facebook on my phone. I have lots of memory. I can put Facebook, but I can't. I'm not going to do that.
No.
There's certain things I won't put on my phone because I don't need it on my phone. I'll turn this off. I put my shamanic music on, my liquid bloom when I go somewhere. I put my affirmations on here. I put my mantras on here. This is what I listen to. I don't listen to things. I control the phone. It doesn't control me. And my computer too. I only listen to things that are going to help me grow. I don't want shit coming through. I don't have TVs in my house for a reason.
Same. We don't have TVs either.
Have a TV. There's a TV downstairs and nobody uses it. Nobody ever goes down there. They watch golf on Sundays. I'm up here. I have my fish to take care of. I got my dogs. I got my pad. I got you. I can bring up anytime I want. Come on, Ollie, let's talk. You know what I mean? I don't want to fill my mind with shit. I can't go to a sports bar and eat because, not that I would. Too many TVs. There's too much shit. I don't give a shit about AI. It doesn't affect me because I don't care.
Yep.
You know what I mean?
Yep. Yeah, that's so funny because
I don't fucking care.
I used to be so much more on the other side where it was like, I gotta wake people up. That's my mission. I gotta tell people what's going on. And then I went through the healing crisis that I went through in the bathtub that you know all about.
Yeah.
And that changed everything because I came through the other side of that, you know, having been in what I would say is literal hell and climbing my way out of the pits of hell. You know, that's what I experienced. That's what hell was for me. And I'm sure at some point we'll go into that to a certain degree, but I've written about it and I've done a show with Randy Moggins about it and things like that. So, but I came out the other side like, I don't want to watch Alex Jones and Project Camelot all freaking day.
Yeah.
I want to create.
Too, Project Camelot, and I got rid of that too.
And it's so great because they were stepping stones, but you got to keep moving. You know, like
they were stepping stones. You're right, and it all brought us to this point. All of it was necessary. I don't regret anything, and you know what? I I one of my big sayings to my kids when we get talking is like, dude, I don't regret anything that's ever happened in my life. Yeah, you know what I went through hell as a child. Yep. I had brothers that committed suicide. Yep. My parents were alcoholics. Yep. I was a lonely child. I did a lot of shit on my own. But I'll tell you what, when I hit where I felt like I was free, I went and did whatever the hell I wanted.
Yep.
And I went for hours on hours on hours riding my bike and by myself. I started smoking pot early. I did what I wanted. I don't regret anything. I can't. Because if it wasn't for all of that shit happening and me listening to crap that I listened to, what wasn't crap then? For me, it helped me grow. The stepping stone was there. I can't regret it. It's part of my growth.
And you didn't stay there. You didn't stay. You weren't like these people who find someone like I'm only using Alex Jones because it's a good example, but there are so many like him.
Want to look at anything else? Yeah. You're not growing if you do that. You're cutting
No, and you remain in the same frequency that you were in when you first found that thing, and that's where I was at, and I just thought, this is not going to expand me. This is me self-imposing limitations upon my life and upon my growth, you know. And it wasn't until after I went through my healing crisis and I started to just really open my world and expand my world. And you know, you got this saying like most people love their little boxes. They love being in a little box. But for me, there is no box. Like
it's okay for them.
Yeah.
If they love being in their box, that's where they're supposed to be. Because everybody at this moment, my time, 12:20, I think it just turned. Can't see that far.
Really?
Oh, I'm sorry, 2:21.
2:21, okay. It's 11:21 for me.
We are all exactly where we're supposed to be.
Yes.
We are all, doesn't that bring you a peace of mind to know that?
Yes.
That you're exactly where you're supposed to be? And doesn't it bring you a peace of mind knowing that you have some answers in life that a lot of people on this planet don't have, that are living in fear because of it?
Yeah, or at least are unafraid, at least are fearless, at least are fearless enough to question it. You know, instead of going, nope, that's the way it is. I'm not going to go anywhere else.
I want to look at that. That's the way I am. If my husband will come home with something, I'm like, no, I want to look at that. I want to read it to the very end, and I want to understand everything it said. Or no, I want to look at that. I'm not making a decision until I look at it, and then I'll make my decision. People are afraid to do that. Why? Well, that just empowers you.
Yes, but I think the people who are afraid to do that are the same people who are programmed into this world with a limited set of a limited space anyway. You know, they were the way that I see it is the NPCs were programmed with, they don't have the space mentally or emotionally within which to play with a lot of these ideas.
That I didn't have that either. Was I an NPC and turned into something else? Because I remember a point in my life where I felt so lost about information and what to go and what to do and why and how and whatever. All of those little what, when, why, and how shit, I didn't know. So was I an NPC because of that? And did I travel through life unconscious? I don't think I did. But at the same time, there was points in my life when I didn't know. And I had to teach myself.
I think not knowing doesn't mean NPC. I think it's the fact that the NPCs don't know, but they also don't search. But you were you just said, you were asking, why don't I know this? Why isn't this? Why isn't that? And I don't really think an NPC does that.
Yeah, you know? Well, they probably don't, but I think I do remember a point in my life too where I was afraid to.
Yeah. Well, that's programming, right?
That's programming, yeah.
Society tells you gotta be afraid of it.
That's just, I guess our evolution is breaking the programs one at a time. And I did hear a talk too the other day about the programming, and it said break all programs.
Yep.
As quickly as you can do it, break them all.
Even the self-created ones.
Start anew with your own. Reprogram your subconscious mind with your own, what you want to put in there. Yeah. And then as you don't need those, they'll go. because you put them there. You can evolve quicker that way. I think I broke a lot of freaking programming in my life. I am so rebellious. I am so rebellious about, really, like even as a child, I was a rebellious kid.
Me too.
Like, my dad called me Lucifer. I'm like, yeah, you're right.
Really? Hey. Yeah, that's not bad, eh?
Yeah, Lucifer. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm the one that challenged him. I'm the only one that would challenge him to get him away from hurting whoever he was ready to hurt. Because I was a long distance runner for years, and I used to say shit to him to piss him off so bad he would start chasing me out the door. Well, I knew he wouldn't get 3 steps down the driveway. I'd be already up the road. Like, you'd never catch me.
Good.
I use that.
This is a really weird realm.
It is.
That tends to be what I come back to when I have these conversations, because on some level I understand where it's all coming from, and because I question everything, even my own questions, I tend to look at things very multidimensionally from multiple points, and I think that's going to become a lot easier too, because in feeling all of these different versions of myself converging into this identity, maybe it's actually happening for all the other ones too, but from their point of view, like they're all converging into themselves too, and they're going, oh, all the other Hollies, but I'm experiencing that. I think it's going to be a lot more easy to activate that when we need it and tap into it when we need it, to feel that tectonic underneath shift.
I think so too. That was such an awesome experience, Holly. I mean, like I said, the more you talk about it, the more you're going to get out of it. The more you're going to remember and understand. Yes.
I think
so.
It's
fun.
It's totally fun.
Stuff that you could teach a kid growing up. Like, if I'd have known this stuff, my kids would be flying on their own right now if I knew this shit. I would have told them that sky's the limit for real. Like, you have no limits here.
That's right. There is no box. There is no spoon.
No, because it's all man-made laws. Dude, the laws are inside you. You're a living law. Go do it. Go fly. Go create whatever you want. I mean, I would have been that person to do that with my kids.
Yeah, which is wonderful. My mother was like that for me as well. Just always express yourself. Always say what you mean. Always be honest. Don't be afraid. You're awesome. She was my number one cheerleader for all of that. Yeah. So I'm in the same boat, mother-wise, that your kids are in, that I had somebody that fostered so much of that. And there wasn't discouragement, there wasn't, you can't do that, or you suck, or anything on that level. I got more of that from other people, but from my mother, I did not get that even a one time. It was always encouragement and cheering. And so because of that, I tend to cheer people on just naturally.
Right.
Because I know how good it feels. And as an empathic person, I know how shitty it feels to experience the other side of the coin, which is you're a loser and you're dumb and you're this, that, and the other thing.
And that's where I come from. That's why I say that I was their biggest cheerleader, because I knew how it felt to hear that.
Yeah, it really is horrible.
From my parents, my siblings, my people I went to school with. I knew what it felt like, and I never wanted a child to feel that way. And as far as I was concerned, my children were never going to feel that, ever. Yeah, they did from other people, but you know what? They had mouths on them too, because I taught them.
Good.
You stick up for yourself, and if you don't, I'll do it for you. Right?
Yep.
Like my son, he would come home and I'm going to school right now. You coming with me? Mom, please don't, Mom, please. And he would beg me. I'm like, dude, if you don't stick up for yourself, and I find out tomorrow this situation's still going on, I'm going to school. I'm going to talk to the teacher. I'll talk to the principal, and I'll talk to the kid. He begged me not to go because he knew that I was going to go and tell them exactly how it was. And he was so afraid that he started sticking up for himself. I'll tell you what, now he's turning 19 on the 13th in a couple days. Now, when I hear him tell somebody off, especially when he's playing his game, I'm like, you go.
Yeah.
You go, because he's so funny when he does it. Because he's right in what he's saying, and I can hear the way he's saying it, and he'll shut somebody down in a heartbeat.
Good.
Because I'm like, you go.
that is a real symbol of self-respect.
Yes.
Is setting the boundaries
Absolutely.
to other people, you know, and saying
we're taught self-respect in school, which they're not. Their power is taken away from them automatically. If they were taught self-respect and some of the things that we've talked about tonight as children, these kids would be unstoppable. They're unstoppable now with the programming. If they didn't have the programming, they would be. We're all gods. I was going to say they would be small little gods. They are small little gods walking around.
Yep.
Nobody told them.
No.
Let's tell them, Holly.
And exactly. I think, and maybe you agree. I think that's a good note to end the first episode on.
Absolutely.
What do you think? Does that feel right?
Yeah, powerful. I like the powerful stuff. It makes
yes, me too.
Yeah,
me too. And on the same token, when you say also powerful stuff like inspirational, but I would also say releasing stuff as well.
Oh yeah.
And these conversations, whether we posted anything online or we just talked between the two of us, it's an incredible release. And it's raining here today. Finally, we're getting lots of rain. So it's definitely a day of release and cleansing. And one other thing I wanted to say was I just read this morning that Jupiter is now in retrograde.
Yes.
So now this will bring some more clarity, which is really great, because the last couple of weeks I have been just in a mental fog, and sometimes worse than others. And so this is probably the perfect day to start our first show.
And if we get together, it's a perfect day, right?
That's right.
It brings you up, it brings me up, and I have the best day after, and
me
best
too.
Days after, and then it wears down. I'm like, I gotta talk to Holly today.
Yeah, the last time we talked, I was buzzing for like 4 hours afterwards, and then and like I wasn't hungry, I wasn't thirsty, I wasn't like looking for more new information or whatever. But then all of a sudden, 3-4 hours later, my stomach goes, and I'm like, oh, I'm hungry. And then I started to get a little sad because I was starting to come down from the high of this energetic exchange that we do, right?
Truly, truly soul food, for real.
Yeah. Yes.
And Frank and Paula, they give me soul food every week.
Thank you, Frank and Paula.
Thank you, Frank and Paula, for sure.
They brought us together for sure.
Oh yeah, and Chris and Cherie. I mean, you know what? 5-hour show. I'm like, I hope it's 5 hours every time I click on it. It's crazy. It's like,
but
give it to me.
But this is why I can't catch up, because I did what you were. Well, one of the things we talked about, where I took a couple of months at the beginning of the year, just organically. It wasn't on purpose. It wasn't like I'm going to make a decision to not listen to anything. Right. And I literally just stopped. And the only things I was watching or listening to was like simmers, like doing let's plays of Sims and stuff like that, because it's fun and it's funny and it's interesting. And so I was watching stuff like that and weird little videos like that, but I wasn't listening to much information because I felt there was a lot of energies at the end of last year, so I felt like I was on overload and electrically, you know what I mean? Yeah. And I was just like, okay, I'm just gonna watch download a few TV shows and watch a few interesting TV shows and watch some YouTube videos and not get real deep in, so I stopped watching Beyond the Veil and Unfuckers and Off Planet Radio and stuff like that, because it felt right to take that little break. And now I'm back into it, where I'm trying to but now I've got to catch up with all these 4 or 5 hour Beyond the Veil shows.
I would say keep up with the fresh ones, and then as you have time, go back and watch the ones you missed. That's how I did it.
That's what I've been doing.
Now, when you said you had to take a break, you're integrating. You're doing the same thing I do. So we can help each other out there, because I've been there so many times that I know what I'm doing. I know what's happening. I know how I have to deal with it. So yeah.
Thank you so much, Laureen.
Well, thank you.
I'm so glad that we're doing this. This is so great.
It's awesome. And so the next time we're going to have some music. Are we going to put the music in, or are you going to put it in today before we?
I'll put it in. I'll put it in this one when I edit it later. Yeah. I'll add like a little theme song at the beginning and a theme song at the end, and put some artwork. And I also need to get, because this part I won't put in the video after we've said thank you and everything. But I'll add, if you can give me like a good picture of you, I'm sure all pictures of you are great, but like a nice lit picture so we can see your beautiful face. And then maybe I'll put that up as well as a picture of both of us. And I will, unless you don't want me to. If you don't want me to, because the other thing that I was thinking is, you've seen some of my art, my mandala art that's really, really colorful. Have you? Not the ones that I do with black outlining and stuff, but it's I saw some of your stuff. Okay, well, there are certain things in particular that I do that are more kaleidoscopy looking sort of things, very, very multicolored, rarely any black outlines and stuff. But what happens is, how I make those is through this program on my iPad called Kaleidofree, and it actually, as you're drawing it, records a video of each movement that you do. Oh, awesome. So and what's really cool is like it's not in real time. So like if I am drawing fluidly for a minute, it will record that, but then it will pause when I pause. And so if I come back to it a couple hours later and I keep drawing the same picture, if I watch the video after, there's no gap in between. It just flows all the way through. Mm-hmm. So I was thinking, because I've got all of these videos of me drawing mandalas from, the beginning to the end product, I was kind of thinking that to slow that down and make one of those, or use a different one every time so that it's that's a good idea. To open up the show like that. Yeah. To have pictures of us. I mean, if you want to put your picture, you can. They're gonna see. Well, those people will see us. People will see us. Yeah. Well, we're talking, so yeah. I don't need to have my picture sitting there. Okay. And I'm not that kind of person. I shy away from cameras. Yeah. There's not very many pictures of me in life. I'll promise you that. So. Yeah, there are not enough of me either, but that's because I'm always taking the photos. That's because I run the other way when the cameras come out. I'm like, no, I'm good. Okay, then we won't do that. We'll just do do some mandalas with some music or whatever. Like you choose, because you have a lot of art stuff and you got to get it out there. Thank you. So let's just do that. Let's work with that for now. It's going to evolve. It's going to change. Oh yeah. We're going to go with the flow, right? How do you feel? How do you feel about our first show? Yeah. You know what? I'm going to rewatch. Okay. Did you do a YouTube thing, or are you just going to post this on Fearless? I was thinking about doing YouTube, and then we could reach more, but as long as you're cool with that, if you're cool with it being public. So let me know then when this is up for review. Okay. And just so I can watch it again. I have a hard time I don't watch when I do meditations, I don't rewatch them. No, because I'm not, see, the camera thing. You can listen. And I don't want. You can listen. Oh, I shouldn't have said that. Oh. Yeah, that's funny. You saying that you don't like to be captured on film, but we're doing this. I know, but me and you have done this so many times already that it's comfortable for me. So I think it'll be fine. And maybe this is right now with the energies that are coming in and what's going on right now with the planets is a good time for you to let go of this type of stuff in your life. Yes. It's time to come out of your shell and show yourself. That's what Leo King said this morning. I listened to his whole hour-long thing. And that's why I said, oh my God, this is perfect then. This is perfect then. Yeah. Perfect timing. Yeah. So let's get it out there. And it's like you've said, anytime we do anything, it's the perfect time to do it. Because that's when we're doing it, right? It is. Absolutely. Yeah. And you don't have to edit this out. I mean, there was some good stuff. I was literally just thinking that. I was just thinking, I should just keep this going. There's some good stuff in here too, and it's just me and you having a conversation that we're allowing people to listen to. Yeah. Right? It shows people behind the curtain a little bit. Exactly. So maybe they'll feel comfortable about coming on. Like
We'll have to get an email set up too, so they can email us and say, yeah, you know what, I'm willing to talk about this. This is what I have to talk about. Let's do that. Let's get that going. And then we can have, you know.
I'm going to do that today.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sounds good.
Okay. This is awesome. Thank you. Thank you.
Have a great rest of your day.
Thank you. You too. I'll be pinging for a few hours at least.
Oh yeah, me too.
Yeah.
Me too.
Yeah.
I'm ready to go now.
It's really good.
That's funny. That's so funny. We give each other energy. I love it.
Yeah. I love you, Laureen.
I love you too, Holly.
Thank you for all of your openness and your expansiveness and your willingness just to be raw and
yeah, you too.
Visceral. It's wonderful.
We're both raw.
Yeah.
We're
raw consciousness.
Raw.
Yeah, that's right.
Raw.
Okay, so have a really great day. We'll talk very soon.
Okay. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.